It's Kaipachi with the weekly Paleo report for September 3rd of 2025. Another month gone by. Man, that August was fast. Whoosh! And we are, we're approaching the equinox. I mean, wow. Time is really flying by. Speaking of time, the moon is in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, Kronos, Father Time. We got some ancient old mothers here. Speaking of time. God, I love these trees. They are ecosystems in and of themselves all together now, aren't they? Everything making their nests, plants growing in their branches. Anyway, where was I? Big thing I'm going to be talking about today is the lunar eclipse, of course. A total lunar eclipse happening exactly at 15 degrees, 23 minutes of Pisces, 22 minutes where I am. And that is happening on Sunday. Yeah, here in Costa Rica anyway. So you can look at that chart. You can see that the total lunar eclipse is, the moon conjunct her own north node and the sun conjunct the south node. So, these are times of destiny really opening up for us. And, that moon, so the moon moves from Capricorn into Aquarius tomorrow, and then by Saturday goes into Pisces for that eclipse on Sunday, and then by Monday she's up and out and on to Aries. Other planetary aspects that come into play big time: Uranus stationing retrograde at the 0 degree of Gemini. Okay, going back, it's going to go back into Taurus, okay, in November, and stay back in Taurus until May. So we got 6 months of Uranus going back into Taurus. I can talk about that a little bit. And then today we've got Mercury basically moving into, it just went into Virgo. It's going to square Uranus today. So I have to watch what I say here. Got in a little trouble last week. And then, last but not least, tomorrow Mars is exactly square Jupiter. The last time they were together was August of 24, a year ago. August of 24, what were you doing? At 16 degrees Gemini. And now they are square. So let me talk about that a little bit. Look at the camera and go for it. All right, astro enthusiasts, let's check it out. A total lunar eclipse only happens usually about 2 times, maybe 3 times a year. It's very powerful. It is a time when the astral shield of the earth is broken and energies, possibly entities from deep space, come into our field. The souls that are going to be born for the next 6 months come through these eclipses. These moon's nodes are so powerful. It's the direct alignment between the earth, the moon, and the sun. Straight on through, right? That is very, very, very powerful. And particularly this one, because the moon is more powerful. First of all, this eclipse is followed by a solar eclipse on the 21st of September. Right? Right at the equinox. It's going to be super powerful. But this is now, okay, the moon is conjunct her own north node. Whenever a planet or the moon is conjunct their own north node, it is way more powerful, okay? That north ascending, rising node, is Rahu. It is the future. It is very super powerful, important. So the moon dominates this eclipse. And we didn't have a solar eclipse and then a lunar eclipse. No, we're having the lunar eclipse first, and then it's followed by a solar eclipse. She's on her own south node, so she's weaker. She's not very strong. So the sun is really going to predominate, okay, on the 21st. So what does this mean? This is, the moon is my inner child. The moon is my feelings. My desire for emotional connection, nurturing, holding, family, family matters, mom, issues from childhood, conditioning and programming and patterns, maybe habits or addictions, really coming up, okay? And these are coming up to the surface to be seen, to be felt. I always say, feelings want to be felt. And sometimes they're very uncomfortable and very inconvenient, and we want to just like, I don't want to feel that right now. I'm trying to get something done. Oh my God. But it's very, I mean, we evolve through our feelings, and so this is like really super important. And feeling these feelings helps us identify our needs and identify, okay, what is going to bring us joy and harmony, and what we need to change in our very most personal lives and in our relationships in order, to create more happiness and more joy in our life. Now, this is all very powerful, but then it's in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces, we know, and I've been talking about this for a long time. Saturn's now in Pisces. Neptune's coming back to Pisces. We're doing the Pisces thing. And Pisces does what, Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye to the old paradigm. Goodbye to the last 35 years, 38 years since Saturn was conjunct Neptune. Goodbye to, a lot. It is a time of letting go, of surrendering to the universal consciousness, to the divine consciousness. I say to love. Neptune and Pisces in the 12th house just has to do with this unboundaried love. And this is, not necessarily intimate. In fact, it can even be platonic. It is a love for all that is. A love for nature and trees and rocks and kitty cats and people and brothers and sisters and artwork and beauty. It's the glue that makes the world go round. And, and its source. We could say that love is the source of creation. The law of one, the unity principle, that the Big Bang, that, boom, I'm going to diversify. I'm going to, disperse and, make little people, to express unique creative aspects of, the totality. So the North Node in Pisces, in a way, wants to return to source. And some people may feel like they want to kill themselves. Some people may feel like they want to crawl right back up in that little womb where they came from. Yeah, we can feel like we want to escape. We want to get away. We want to relieve ourselves of separation, of discord, of sorrow, despair, and grief at this separation. So this is, especially with Saturn here, there's a lot of grief going around. And we all need to really feel into that grief. And outside that grief, after that grief, we go through these stages of grief and we come into the calm. Yes, it's the calm that the mantra talks about today. There is calm after the storm. And not only calm. This is the tricky part. Pisces is not only the end. It's the beginning. Astrology shows us that every end leads to a new beginning. Every cycle closes and weaves into another new cycle. So it's also a time of birth. It's a time to dream a new dream. It's a time to really imagine and not get, the past is coming up to be released. Yeah, I'm doing a workshop on Saturday. We're going to come down to the river and we're going to release the past and we're going to let go of what needs to be, returned to the great Mother Ocean. So it's coming up to be released. It's not coming up to be resolved, to be figured out, to be argued about. No. Let these feelings come up, see them, feel them, and release them. Offer them up to spirit. And then you wipe the slate clean. And then you can dream a new dream. And then 2 weeks from now, that solar eclipse, the new moon, boom. Okay, it's going to be more about action, doing. Right now, the moon in the feminine is about being and feeling. And then we'll come around and, the yang energy of the sun will have its day after we clear our subconscious energies from the past, right? So we can clear these out, and as the Sabian symbol, what a beautiful Sabian symbol for this lunar eclipse. It's the 16th degree of Pisces, because 15 degrees 23 minutes is actually the 16th degree, right? And it is in the quiet of his study, a creative individual experiences a flow of inspiration. The keynote is a reliance upon one's inner source of inspiration or guidance. So, for this eclipse, you also may want to, Pisces in the 12th house is isolation, seclusion, yoga, meditation, going inward to go up and out into cosmic realms. And he's in his study. And then he receives the downloads. Maybe have a little recorder or a little pen and paper, your journal or whatever. This weekend can be a real time of you getting the vision, getting the inspiration for the next what lies ahead for you. So what we've got is this symbol strikes the keynote of truly significant creative processes. Their source is above, beyond, but also around the individual creator. The inspiration, original and individual though it may be, is given a form which is conditioned by the cultural, social, and religious background of the creative process. In a sense, every genius merely provides records and records an answer to the needs of their time. The hands that write, play an instrument, or mold a plastic material are his own. The urge or drive back of the flow of inspiration has arisen in the vast collective mind of man. The individual aspect of the creative process is emphasized, as is the individual's need for concentration and at least inner quiet. He must have faith in his own subjective strength. So this is really about, there can be stormy, emotional, episodes, explosions. Okay, there can be, some very big, things coming up. Mercury square Uranus, okay, is, sudden, intense, possibly shocking communications, discussions, really happening, going on. Mercury is very strong. It's in the sign he rules, Virgo. Squaring Uranus in Gemini, Mercury also rules Gemini. So this can be lightning flashes of inspiration. And they have their seeds back in May. Think of where you were May 24th. Yeah? That was when Mercury was conjunct Uranus. And you maybe had some new downloads. I decided to sell my house and move. Boom. Decided to go, do this, that. Now, months later, that first quarter square is about implementing and acting on, breaking free from the past and stepping forward. I'm actually taking a plane out of here next week or so. So, right, so it's time. It's time to, make those connections or, build those websites or, put out that media, put out your ideas, okay, and really get to work on manifesting some of these dreams and but be clear about them first. Now, the square is that you may upset some people. Your ideas, your genius, your way of doing things may not fit into the norm, the conventional. This is a time for alternative solutions and finding alternative friends, which is Mars squared Jupiter. Another 90-degree square, Mars breaking away from Jupiter. What was going on last August for you, over a year ago? Now, a year later, bam, Mars is like, okay, I gotta act. Mars Jupiter equals creation, birth. And that 90-degree square is it's time. Yeah, it's time for a rebirth. So we have this eclipse season here of a couple of weeks. And it is powerful and intense. It starts out with the emotional, feminine, inner feeling world, cleansing and releasing the past to allow for a new inspiration and new dreams and a new alignment to be felt inwardly. And then coming around to that solar eclipse to really take steps out into the world. Woo, baby. Super, super powerful period. Okay? Now, what's with this Uranus going retrograde? I mean, I just think that the volcanoes and the earthquakes are not over yet. Uranus needs to go back into Taurus for 6 months and light up that Pacific ring of fire. I'm very much watching, okay, the solar activity. The sun is like more highly active than it's like ever been. Okay, so we're getting, a lot of different, waves happening, coming in from the sun. The earth is responding, and yeah, things are very unsettling, not just psychologically, not just politically, not just economically, okay, but like right down into survival, food, clothing, and shelter. This is a lot about, like I say, all I can say with, again, astrology teaches us and shows us over and over and over again that there are no accidents. And this is the other thing that we really want to bring forward. How can I put this? I'm watching this series on Netflix. It's called The Gift. And it's about Göbekli Tepe. Some of you that have been watching me for a while know that I went to Göbekli Tepe. And that they were the Sabian shamans in Göbekli Tepe that actually channeled the Sabian symbols that I read almost every week. And it's amazing how, this series goes into multiple timelines happening simultaneously, and how the world, and especially Pisces, is outside of time and space. When we look at Aquarius and we look at Pisces, we're looking at realms and dimensional realities that go far beyond, our logical, rational, left brain ability to comprehend. Like I've said a million times, there's no such thing as chaos. There is only an order and a structure that we are not evolved enough yet to comprehend. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. That can't happen. That's chaos. And we try to stay away, as far away from chaos as we possibly can. It's like, don't lose your mind and don't go crazy. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep your job. Get real. And yet, not only is this the source of inspiration, stepping out of this third dimensional realm of Saturn, of time and space, this is where the genius comes in. This is where the inspiration comes in. And this is where the spiritual world is just as real as the physical. As human beings, we are the intersection of the spiritual world and the physical world. Light and dark, plus and minus, masculine, feminine, however you want to look at it, we, as this person, right? I have a physical body and I have a spirit inside of it, right? My body's my temple for the spirit to inhabit. And this is where our creativity comes from. This is where our dreams come from. This is where a lot of our feelings come from. This is like super, super powerful. And some of these feelings come up from below, right? From that root chakra, from this physical body, feels this and feels that, and it triggers this and it triggers that. And then the spirit goes, aha, it gets informed. Our spirit self gets informed by the body. And then the body gets informed by the spirit. That is the drive, the impulse, the will force. Mars, the will force, squaring Jupiter for this whole week. If you can, the only challenge with these squares is too much, too fast, too far. If you can actually, contain yourself, hold yourself in a meditative state or a dream state, still your mind, and allow your multidimensional soul, spirit, self to inform, your cellular structure here, then you are going to have ingenious, ideas of how, and I'm talking very practical, how to solve your problems. how to regain balance, stability, security. I mean, this is beyond brainstorming. Okay, brainstorming is, okay, yeah, I'm going to think this through, and we'll get with a group of people, and we'll da 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 da. No, this is beyond brainstorming. This is downloading. Pisces is about downloading. The South Node is in Virgo, the path of least resistance, the path of habitual patterns that need to be released and let go of. And that is right now attention to details, getting caught up, okay, in the little minuscule problems of, of the work and all of this, that, and trying to figure it out and engineer it, design it, solve our problems with our brain. Step into spirit. Step into the intuitive. Step into the wild. You know what I mean? Ow! This week's song, I can't help it. I know it's old as molasses, but it's The Impossible Dream. It's actually one of my favorite songs. I used to take organ lessons, and I learned it's from the Man of La Mancha. Yeah? And it's such a powerful one. I hope I can find it on YouTube. But, yeah, it's to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly song. And I know if I only am true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this. That one man, torn and covered with scars, still strives with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable stars. I mean, it's classic. It's such an astrological song. All right, I'm going nuts here. Okay, what do we got here? In order to get the most out of life, I want to feel it all. The birth, the rise, the crest of the wave, and the calm that comes after the fall. I mean, it's only a 4-line mantra, and I really wanted it to rhyme, but it doesn't really include the fall itself. Just think of surfing, right? You have the rise, and you paddle, and you get up on that board, and then, boom! The actual fall is the fun part. I love cliff jumping, right? Jump off that cliff. This is Pisces. I'm just letting go. I surrender. I could die. Boom, I give myself to the divine. And you just you surf that wave, and what happens? The wave comes over on top of you, and blah, 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 blah. But then what? It goes up onto the beach and returns back to the sea. And it's calm. And it bathes the beach. It kind of licks it, yeah, it kind of licks the beach with the tongue of the wave. So beautiful how the water comes to the earth, where the water meets the earth. Absolutely gorgeous. Another connection. And so it is true. It's not what you know. It's who you are. And who you are is a grand combination of thoughts and feelings and inspiration, right? So feeling is very important. And this full moon, this lunar eclipse, on her own north node, they may be chaotic feelings. There can be periods of, psychotic behavior, neurotic. I mean, a lot of shit can come up. Yeah? Everything that you're afraid of. Every trauma or abuse that ever happened to you. Every from mom and dad and, going back to brothers and uncles or whoever. I mean, this is a time I want to encourage you, purge. Look at it as a purge. This is a time to purify and purge ourselves of any, stuff that is in the way of being calm and enjoying the ride. Our essential nature is to be happy. It is only when we don't know ourselves that we create conditions of unhappiness. So get to know yourself through your feelings, and you will return to the Garden of Eden, to paradise. In order to get the most out of life, I want to feel it all. The birth, the rise, the crest of the wave, and the calm that comes after the fall. May you have an amazing weekend and a powerful week of transmutation. Namaste, aloha, so much love.